Suma's POV. So, what did you learn? Captain Guguales asked. After finishing our business with the village and their chief, Lieutenant Datahu, Jake and I stayed in the village until nightfall, then flew back to the dugout under the cover of darkness. At the moment, we are all giving our reports to him and the rest of the team, with the exception of Odin's, who was on watch. Harbinger is, according to the memories we saw and Sentinel's explanation, most likely a Viking, as we suspected. It used some kind of sound manipulation magic to kill from a distance. Sentinel recognized it as something referred to as violin, Datahu said. It was some kind of stringed instrument at least, Jake added. Is it an instrument? For music? Guguales wondered. Yeah, but I don't know how she killed someone with it. It is possible she engraved death magic runes on the instrument, and is using it to amplify the effects of the spell, Datahu suggested. I know what a string is, but how do you string and instrument? Ro wondered. You don't have those? Jake asked. I have never heard of either of them, Nine added. The report, the captain said. Right, sorry. Any idea how to neutralize the spell? We would first need to know what the spell is and its effects, the lieutenant said, and we do not have any clues on how it works. I have a theory, Jake said. Really? I asked. Assuming it isn't death magic anyway, he added. Let's hear it, the captain said. Based on the memories we saw, I think Harbinger is using resonant frequency to kill, and is producing that frequency with the violin. Maybe. Can you explain? Datahu asked. Assuming I'm right, they are producing a specific sound that is harmful to Nume, like breaking crystal by singing, but stronger. I do not understand, I admitted. How can sound break a stone? By vibrating it until it tears itself apart, which is what I think happened, but I'm not sure. If it is a sound, how can we counter it? Do we cover our heads? Nine asked. I doubt the solution will be so simple, the captain said. Do you have a plan, Sentinel? Calling it a plan would be, well, it would be a lie, but I have an idea. Suma, do you remember when I was building my bike and how loud it was? Yes, it was deafening, I said, remembering how it sounded like flying through a thunderstorm or turning my head into the wind while diving. It had such an awful screaming sound. So you think you can silence the spell in the same way you did your rune machine? Datahu asked. I didn't really silence the bike or the runes. Instead, I made a new rune to cancel out the noise. Right, you try to explain it, but I still do not understand. Jake has spoken at length about sound waves and opposing frequencies when he was designing the runes before we left, but it all died faster than I could. Do you have the materials needed to make runes for all of us? Captain Guguales asked. I doubt it. There's plenty of stuff in my bag, but I used most of my materials finishing the bike and repairing Twilight. Maybe I could make one or two. Designing a new rune is not a simple process, even for you, Sentinel. There will be several failures before success, which would reduce the amount of materials even further, Datahu pointed out. Perhaps we should return to the refugees in the village and ask for help from them. They may have the materials. From your report, they will likely pressure us to assist them before they help us, the captain said. Yes, they already asked for our help in killing Harbinger. They may want us to free more of their people in exchange for materials, Datahu said. Again, this is just assuming I'm right. I could be completely wrong. And they're using death magic instead of manipulating the sound. Death magic can do pretty much the same thing from what we saw in the memories. Jake said that last part a bit more quietly. He was probably remembering the dreams and memories that he experienced from the Chaos Dragon. Assuming it is death magic, what do we do? Ro asked. Often, she is so quiet during these briefings, I forget she is there. We retreat or press the attack, just like our training. Hopefully using Sentinel's mana will give us an edge, but killing Harbinger is the main objective, the captain said. Bear in mind, his mana will make your spells more powerful, but you will only have a limited supply in your system. Once it is gone, you will feel incredibly weak, Lieutenant Datahu added. Will our spells' effects be reversed too? Ro asked. No. I'll give you the mana after I run it through a Dao Jar's lid first. That will neutralize its effects. Speaking from my experiences, as soon as you feel the mana start to run out inside you, you should retreat immediately. Once you reach that point, you will only have moments before the exhaustion sets in, I told them. We should discuss the plan of attack, the captain said, changing the subject. While you three were gone, I scouted the largest of the settlements occupied by the Southern Union. Their fortifications are strong, and I estimate they have at least 3,000 Nume stationed there at any time. A distraction large enough could lure many of them out, but not all, Datahu said. Why would they leave their fort? Jake asked. Wouldn't they just send their familiars? About half of the forces they send would be familiars, but there is only so much a familiar can do, Rose said, then quickly added, present company excluded, of course. She is right. We should expect at least one familiar for every Nume on base, but most will be patrolling the area around it, rather than be inside, Datahu said. How are we going to sneak through that many Nume? Nine wondered. I doubt we could, so instead we should cause a disturbance big enough that we do not need to. Big enough to draw out Harbinger. From there, Sentinel can use his long-range spells to kill it, Captain Datahu said. I looked over to Jake, who had gone quiet. His head hung down and his shoulders slumped as he stared at the ground. There were only 3 people in our squad capable of killing one of his kind, and Jake was the only one able to do it safely. During the rest of the briefing, it was decided that we would travel to the Roshia village to bargain for materials, and then plan our attack from there. Everyone spent the rest of the day resting until night fell, but while lying in the dugout, I contacted Jake over for our private connection. He was curled up in nearly a ball on the ground, not moving much. To me, it seemed like an uncomfortable way to sleep, but I had seen him do it many times before during training, so I knew he was fine. Jake? Yeah? Are you okay? There was a moment of silence. We're going to have to kill a lot of people, aren't we? He asked. I believe so. Jake was always so gentle. I knew the idea of killing had been hurting him for a long time, since before we even joined the armed forces. He did not even kill the magistrate who attacked us years ago. I'm going to have to kill a person, he said. The voice in his mind was hollow. That is how it always sounds over our connection. Like it is devoid of emotion, a synthesis of someone speaking. But I knew how it would have sounded if he had said it aloud. I did not know what to say to him, and doubted if anything I did say would help. I'm sorry, Suma. You do not have anything to apologize for. I'd like to get some sleep. Okay. We awoke when the sun set and flew straight to the Roshia village. They agreed to provide us with materials if we traveled to a nearby Southern Union camp and freed the prisoners. The captain and lieutenant expected this, and agreed to go personally while the rest of us stayed behind. Jake was brought the materials right away, and immediately got to work making the runes. As for Ro, Odin's, Nine and I, we helped the Nume of the camp as much as we could, growing food, casting healing magic, and other assorted tasks.